Not being a micromanager in your business is costing you a lot of money. I know what that sounds like. Tosh, you want me to hover over my team? You want me to control their every move? Not quite. I'm not talking about controlling the work. I'm talking about actually knowing the work, being clear on what's happening and being clear on what they're doing, and then giving them space to actually do it. I'm Natasha. I help founder led businesses build their operations and team structure in order to really support that growth as they're scaling. If you want to learn more about hiring well, building your team, and overall operations, click the subscribe button below. After 10 plus years of working in HR and operations with a founder, boutique agencies, all the way to execs of companies with 10,000 employees, I know what it's like if you don't onboard your team well and really coach them through that pivotal 3 months before letting them really spread their wings and understand what they're doing. So the people that really lose money are the ones that they hire, they onboard them for the first 2 weeks, and then you're like, you know what? I trust you. You go ahead because I have 1,000 other things to do. That's when things crack because they don't know much about the business. In the first 2 weeks, they're still learning. You need to be in the weeds with them because you know the work better than they do. So in this video, I'll talk about what it looks like to hire good people, but also feel like they're not really supporting your business, why it's not a people problem, and then how to manage them in the beginning without feeling that you're hovering too much. This is what I walk through founders through all the time as they're growing a team, because it's not necessarily the team, it's really the clarity that hasn't been clear from the start. So let's talk about hiring good people. And we can all hire good people, but the problem that we quickly see is when we hire good people but realize they're not really supporting the business. Why is that? It's because of the clarity. It's because when they come into the business, they don't understand the business. So those first 2 weeks of you onboarding them doesn't mean that they're going to know the business right away and run with it. Some people can, but not all, especially when you're bringing in assistants. You want to make sure that you're building a 3 month plan and you're walking them through it, and you're also holding their hand during those 3 months for them to understand how you manage your business, what they need to do to really support your growth, and then what that looks like long term. Because as you walk them through those 3 months, you're really building that clarity so that way you can step back and have them run with it. So I had a call with a new client and she says she has a VA, but she really doesn't know what she's doing. And I can hear a little bit of that resentment because she's paying her a lot of money, but nothing's really moving the needle. And I was like, okay, well, what is she doing? I didn't get a lot from that. And that was a red flag, because if you don't know what she's doing in the business, then that means there was no clarity from the start. And I'm pretty sure she's a good assistant, but I'm pretty sure she's just doing things to fill the time, but she's not understanding what she needs to do to really support you. You need to build on the communication so they know what you really want them to do in your business and as you continue to grow together. Another thing is have people track their time. I know a lot of contractors sometimes don't really want to track their time. They just want to have a clear package and give it to you. That's great. You can have a retainer, but you need to have them track their time, or at least send a weekly report or a monthly report on what they're doing. And the reason for that is because if they're allocating time to your business to work on your business, but you're not really clear on how much time it takes to do specific tasks, if you hire the next person and they're working so many hours and you're just like, okay, they're working all these hours, like what are they doing? Where is the time going? If you're not clear on how long it takes to maybe even edit a video, how long it takes to go through your inbox. If you're not clear on how much time that really takes for somebody, how are you supposed to know how to really build out for growing your team? How much time you need for another person coming in? After you assess that, then you can really see, okay, I actually need someone full time, or it's okay to get another part time person. But if you're not having them track their time, you're not really clear about where the work is going and how much time they need for those specific tasks. If you don't have a project management tool, you need to get one. If it's Airtable, if it's Notion, if it's ClickUp, whatever it is, you want to make sure that they're actually adding the tasks that they're doing in that project management tool, and then you're looking at it. If they are managing a launch for you, you want to make sure that they're building out all the tasks that need to get done before that launch. And you want to make sure that on a weekly basis, you're going through it to understand, okay, what have they completed? What's still on the table? What you might need to work on, or what you might need delivered to them. And when you're having weekly check-ins, you can go through that list to be like, hey, this is what we're working on. This hasn't been done. What's going on? Within those tools, you can really build a dashboard too. So that way the dashboard could really show you if they are tracking their time in that system as well. It can really show you how much time they're working on those tools for you to understand, actually, I don't need that much time going to this specific task. Let's move it over here because we're only 3 months away and that's not important right now. So you want to make sure that you can holistically see what's happening and what work they're doing. And the best way to do that is using a project management tool. I touched on it, but a check-in, that's the next thing that you need to do. When you are onboarding someone within those 30 days, you should be checking in with them at least 2 to 3 times a week. If you are doing one-to-ones, do them at least twice a week at minimum. Even more, even better, because they really want to be spending that time with you to understand what you're working on, to understand what they need to be working on, to understand the tools, to understand the business. You're really using that time to train them. And if you're only meeting with them once a week and then messaging them async on Slack, they're not getting that full exposure. And also at the same time, you have to be building that relationship because you want to be able to trust them. You want to be able to see their work. You want to be able for them to ask questions. If you're not allocating that time for them to do that, you're going to be confused in like 3 months to be like, okay, I don't really know this person, but they're still in my business. What are they actually doing? In the beginning, it's really important to build that relationship. And you can really only do that having that face-to-face time. But after those 2 months, you can move to once a week check-in and then have like your conversations on Slack or wherever you have them. That's fine. But in the beginning, you want to be spending more time with them face-to-face on video. If you guys are at a co-working space for them to come in. So this is where my HR side comes in because I say document, document, document. So if you have an OBM or operations partner like me, you would want them to build SOPs. So the SOPs are really going to be helpful for people coming into your business because as you're training them, that face-to-face time is really important. But when they have that downtime, you want them to read those SOPs to really understand what those processes are for your business. And then as they're doing the work, for them to be documenting SOPs also, because if, say, something happens and they leave the business, when you bring someone else in, everything's already documented and it's easier for you as you continue to train other people. If you're not documenting and everything lives in your head, that's going to be a problem because then you really have to be spending so much time with them during the onboarding phase and they're going to be asking you a lot of questions. But if that's documented, readily available for them, they can just go to your knowledge library if you have one. If you don't, you need to get one, knowledge library for them to look at all the SOPs that's in there, all the logins that they need, all of the understanding of the business and the fundamentals need to be in that knowledge library. And during that onboarding phase, when you're building out that onboarding doc, you want to make sure that you're having the most important SOPs there so they can check it off. And when you have those calls, you want to make sure that you're also walking through those SOPs with them to make sure they have any questions and you can answer any questions just to make sure things weren't clear. These are all important things that are really going to help you have a strong team as you're scaling and you don't feel like you're overwhelmed. Yes, this is a lot in the beginning, but this is what it takes to build a team and to build a culture around that team. That's why I say it's important to have an operations partner alongside you as you are building out your business because they take the brunt of that work. Operations partners, they really live in that ambiguity. They're really good with managing that and taking your brain dump and then turning it into goals that make sense for the team that you're building. When micromanaging starts to get a bad rep is when you continue to hover over your team and you don't build any trust and you can't let go of control. The whole point is to build clarity from the beginning, walk alongside them, and then let them go. So then they can really run the business for you. So you definitely need to be close to them in the beginning. But then once you do that, you'll realize that your business gets better because they understand and you have built the trust and you know what they're. So that's what it really all takes to manage your business and to manage your team. Does it sound like a micromanager? Maybe in the beginning, but the whole point is for you to be able to trust your team so they can run with the work and you can really focus on growing and scaling your business. But if you don't take that time in the beginning, that's when the cracks happen. If you want to hear more, please subscribe and can't wait to see you in the next video.